Hi guys, my name is Mark and today's video is about the RAZER HUNTSMAN Mini Performance Gaming Keyboard. Let's go! So first of all, basically this video will be about this RAZER HUNTSMAN Mini Gaming Keyboard, which is, in my opinion, one of the best 60% performance keyboards with optical switches right now, or for pre-built keyboards which I have tested until now. I will continue testing a lot of performance keyboards. At first, as I pointed out already in this video which called New Ways, I start to review keyboards. No one sent me a keyboard so far, and all the keyboards I've tested or I will test, I've bought myself. And as much as you know, guys, or as you know, keyboards are pretty expensive. So I think it will take some time to stock up or to come up with a lot of good keyboards or the best performing keyboards, as they are cost a lot of money. And talking about keyboards is, for me, it's not new in general, but basically I'm still learning here. And of course, when we watch those custom built keyboards, there's a lot of stuff you can buy. You can buy different dampers, you can buy PCBs, blah 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 blah, housings, whatever. That's why I will not, or I try not to do non-pre-built keyboards. Maybe sometimes I will show you custom keyboards which are like selectable, where you have like a builder, you can just click, like drag and drop, like you configure a car and then you get your finished product. But I will not show you a keyboard you have to assemble yourself. And basically the biggest size you will see here is 65%. One of the next videos will be about one TKL keyboard, because it's so hype and everybody was asking about this, and I already asked myself while doing this video why I bought this keyboard. I tested it already, and that's why I'm saying this here already. There will be no bigger size than 65%, no TKLs, no full-size keyboards, guys. I will focus on pre-built or buildable full builds in future, 60 to 65%, full and low profile. Basically, the price range should be, or in my opinion, if it's 220 euro or 250 US dollar, it's the absolute maximum. That's honestly by far way more than I would expect a keyboard should cost. And for example, if we compare those German or European prices with these prices in the States or somewhere else on the planet, it's basically for the Ducky Mecha Mini, which I said already is 155 euro. And if I buy it or buy the same thing, which is okay, not in stock here on mechanical keyboards, it's basically with shipping 130 euro, but it's not ISO, then it's ANSI. So as you see, they're pretty expensive here. They are very limited, to be honest, because sometimes it feels like cost of the bigger or more people using ANSI layouts than ISO layouts in the world. Everywhere else, that is sometimes more harder to get different configurations. Like there's no way I can buy an Ducky Mecha Mini. Okay, this is not a Mecha Mini because it was not directly available, so I just chose a normal Mini on mechanical keyboards and ANSI layout, as you can see, for example with KL box red switches. And honestly, I would like to try a Ducky Mecha Mini with KL box red switches in ISO layout, not in ANSI. I really want to try. Yeah, it's hard to get. So as I said, it's pretty expensive over here in Europe. Also, RAZER products are, for example, if you compare them, mostly 10, or if we just compare the numbers, the RAZER HUNTSMAN, for example, here in Germany costs 140 euro. And I think on the non-German side, it's like 140 or 130 US dollars, which would basically be 115 euro. So as you can see, it's way more expensive over here. So I will do these reviews for you because I want to, and I asked you about it on Twitter, and most people said they want keyboard reviews, not headset reviews. and I can understand because keyboard is like used same ways and simply that often like you lose your mouse. And as you guys know from my mouse review, they're getting extended right now because I try to explain you the industry behind. I try to explain you what happens there and what are advantages, disadvantages, all the stuff. I just want to give you very brief, very wide view of the industry, and I will try to do this on keyboards also. My first touch with keyboard production was 2019, beginning of 2019 with Akku, where I visited Akku in China. And Akku tried to work out with my brother and me to sell in Europe, but the numbers or the sales they wanted to do were this high. We didn't want to do it because it was like 40,000 keyboards or something like this. You have to buy directly to get allowed to sell these keyboards here. And there was no way we wanted to do this, to be honest. And yeah, so that's all to the price range. And one thing is also, let's talk about one of the main things in mouse and keyboards. It's the switches. Most of you people know or a lot of you people know there are like, I don't know, 500, 700,000 different switches out there. We have big players, we have small players, we have customization guys who make custom switches for people who have very special ideas about how a switch need to be. And basically we divide here in optical, mechanical and Hall effect switches. Mechanicals are the most used so far. I don't talk about rubber dome switches or whatever. I talk about performance products with longevity, with a lifespan of minimum 50 million clicks. For real high performance, you go to very good mechanical, mostly linear switches, which are basically based which are close to those Cherry Reds we all know. They are like Cherry Reds in silent. There are Kale Box Reds, which I have also here, where there's like also Kale Box Reds, low profile. Basically, these reds, these linear reds, are very, very famous. A lot of people use them. There are still people who are like it very clicky, so they use blue or green from RAZER, for example, switches, which are very, very loud. If you not live alone and you have, for example, a wife or a girlfriend, it's pretty hard to use them 8 or 12 hours a day, I can tell you, even if you sit 15 meters away, because I had one of the very first mechanical SteelSeries keyboard. And it was so loud, even when my girlfriend was watching in 2013 TV and like 15 meters away in a completely other big room, she heard it the whole time. It was super loud. And that's why I think people started to invent, or these bigger players like Cherry invented better switches, which are also a little bit tactile, for example, but not that loud. For example, these browns. My first Ducky Measure, for example, which I have here, was an Cherry MX Brown. The other big player right now on the market based on switches is optical, or in general optical switches. Gatron is doing very, very good optical switches as much as I know. I'm still missing some, or I still miss a very good high performance keyboard from Gatron. If you know a 60% high performance pre-built keyboard, which is ISO, guys, put it down in the comments below, please. I want to order some. It can be also in different Gatron switches. I want to know more of them. I want to get learned or get used to them, how they feel, to compare for you in future. Maybe I do a special board with different switches or something like that, but just let me know in the comments, please. Because this RAZER keyboard also has optical, and that's why I made this review. I doing this review right now for you, because a lot of people told me, if you start using optical or Hall effect switches, you will never go back again to mechanicals or cherries, or you will completely forget about cherries. Basically, from what I know now, from this new invented RAZER opticals, which is basically the second generation already. What I heard about the first generation of these red opticals I have here in this RAZER keyboard in the Huntsman Mini is that the first edition was, the spring was not that good, the stabilizer here outside was not that good, the plastic broke, all that stuff. It has a lot of flaws, but I think, or looks like RAZER learned. Also the sound was a bit tricky, that's why they also have these sound, the playable sound here to show you how the new generation sounds. And the reds were loud, or have Yeah, it had a weird sound for reds, to be honest. But just to compare them to normal mechanicals, I have already to say that these RAZER opticals here, they've done feeling very, very good. They say the total travel distance is 1.2 millimeters here, but I don't know if that's right. I think I seek out the data sheet for this. But just to compare it here to these normals is like an optical is working different. For example, we just go here, I'll just show you, they have a very good video, to be honest, which basically explains for you how their optical, that's the purple one, the tactile one, is working. An optical switch is not like an contactor on a mechanical. On a mechanical switch, it's like you have two contacts basically, which are one is sitting here and the other one is moving from your from the key you're pressing. So when it comes down after some millimeters, 1.2, 1.6, 1.8, whatever, which depends on which switch you have, and it contacts the contact in the switch, so in the box, it sends a signal. It's electric. There is a resistance because of these moving atoms. Just by physics and by the electric, or just by the normal behavior of atoms moving through resistors, and in general how current is floating through contactors and to PCBs, to resistors, to everything which is in the board. There is like a reaction time in a mechanical switch. The reaction time in a mechanical switch can differ by how it's made, which type of contactor is in there, how long the travel distance is, how good the contacts are made, which metal the contacts are made out. There's a lot of physical and electrical stuff which can influence just the latency of your switch and how long it will last. So that's okay, but sometimes, or after long usage, it will change in feeling, for example, or in latency in general. So one thing which is an advantage of an optical switch is at first how it's built. That's not built with two contacts which are touching at some point after a preset travel distance. And these optical switches from RAZER here, which are shown here, are basically, there is like one sensor and one sender. The sender is always sending light. So basically it's always on and it sends the light. And when you press down your key, after as you saw, after a specified distance, the sender is able to pass the hole they made in between or under the switch you pressed. So then the light is able to reach the contactor, so the sensor, who is, or whatever, there's maybe an capacitor or maybe an LED based something, I don't know, that's not clear here, but then the signal reaches there. They say it's optomechanical, and yes, it's optomechanical because opto is the part where the light gets sent, and there's something which is reacting when the light touches it. So basically the sensor for the light, and the mechanical part is when you use the button. There's a spring down it, there's a stabilizer outside, and if you push down the button, there's like something is opening, or like this plastic is going away, and then the light is able to reach the sensor. That's where directly the signal gets sent. The advantage of this is light is faster than just current, because the current needs to build up, for example, and specified voltage, for example, 5 volt. And just to reach those 5 volt over this contact, depending on how the contact is made and which contact it is, it needs sometimes, yes, it's only milliseconds, that's true. But light is faster than a voltage building up or going over 2 different contacts, which getting used every day. So that's why an optical switch is faster. That's for that. For me, switches in gaming, as I said, those linear reds, full and low profile, and here linear reds, optical and clicky purples from RAZER. They invented themselves. I don't know with who they're partnering up to produce this, or this is maybe a full self-invention. I can't tell. Also, if I just put it off here, I can't see because there's like branded Razer on it, and I did not make any researches for now until this video for who they may be partnered with to make the switches. If you know, just comment if you want to, and I read and I research them. That's what I have to say about switches in general. I show the Razer again, and I show these Street now. I can tell you, I played those pale, low-profile box reds a lot. They are very loud. And then I directly switched to the Mini, to the Huntsman Mini. And to be honest, just to compare, that's how I play. They are way louder. And I also had the feeling that the way how Fnatic make the Streak, which is basically made out of glass with like a metal or aluminum top, was not the way you make a silent keyboard. For example, if I compare with my Mesha from Ducky, which is which has an insane build. To be honest, it's not that loud. Sure, it's also loud, not comparable with the Huntsman. But that was one of the first points I realized when I put out the Huntsman. These optical switches, they're very silent and they're very enjoyable, to be honest. And the feeling is very smooth. They need 40 gram force to actuate, so that's totally okay. I think normally Reds have 35, 37, some have 40 grams to actuate. That's pretty good to me. That's for me exactly the right number to have an enjoyable feeling on playing 8 to 12 hours without getting your fingers lame, so your fingers, don't know, you don't feel them anymore or whatever, or it's too hard to press it for 8 hours. That's pretty good. These are not clicky here. These are Reds, optical Reds, and they also have like purples, which are a little bit clicky. Also, both of them have different actuation travel distance, which the purples have 1.5 millimeter in total and the Reds have 1 millimeter in total. Do you feel it? Yes, a little bit. Can you really compare it? I think you only can really compare it if you have very good feeling, or if you are used to your old red keyboard a lot and you directly switch over in game, or you know how you move and you can feel that maybe the latency or the in general reaction time is better. Only then you really can say you feel it. But one thing I don't think is that you can say like, oh, it's 25 milliseconds less. There's no way you will feel it. I think it's just about those the feeling you have for yourself while you're playing it. And I have a very good feeling playing the Huntsman because the Switch is feeling very good, but it also has like some points where I think it needs to be more optimized, or let me say it this way, for 140 euro I thought I get a better product. At first there's like a claim in German, it's Aluminium Konstruktion, which basically means aluminium construction. So when I think of a keyboard aluminium constructed or metal constructed or whatever, the only real keyboard I have or I had are 3 different Meshas from different generations, to be honest. I have one of the very first generation, which also feels slightly more heavy and different to the one of the last generation I had. You also can see it on the space bars. The space bars are different and they basically show you which year I bought it. And also the back numbers are saying that I have like, wow, that looks like that's 2 generations. That's first generation and the third, like. And when I think of a metal keyboard, I have Ducky in my mind, this Ducky Mesha. For everyone who knows Ducky Mesha keyboards, these guys, they are solid, man. I think you can hear it. It looks like they are one piece. It looks like you can, I don't know, if someone breaks in your home, I think you can knock them out with this one. And I put out the RAZER Huntsman out of the box. The box is, by the way, pretty decent. It's very small, looks very good. It has decent informations, and out of the box feeling is also very good. And then you just put it out, and then you watch it and say, huh? What is it? What is it? Where's the aluminium construction? And basically what they mean is, and that's pretty funny to be honest, yeah, but it's okay. I can show here. Oh wait, where is it? Yeah. They just installed an aluminium plate on the plastic. So yeah, it feels good, and the edge also feels very good because it's the edge stands a little bit out. The aluminium edge stands a little bit out, and yes, it feels good. It's not that bad, to be honest. But this was not what I had in mind when I read aluminium construction. But the picture already, when you saw it now, or when you know how the product is, and when you see the picture, you already understand it's only an aluminium plate with a plastic down there. But one thing also, which I was like, I'm just went from a Ducky Measure Mini to a low profile Phonetic Street, which I really enjoyed a lot, I'm not gonna lie. And then I just went over to the RAZER, and I thought, bro, I just show you to compare the Streak now with the Measure, not with the Measure, the Streak with the RAZER. And maybe you saw it already, or it's like, I just made this and I said, wow, that's pretty high. If I have my hand here, like, that's like, I have to arch a little bit to just play everything. And one thing is, when you need to make a bigger arch with your hand, is like the blood flow for your hand through your arm to your carpal tunnel, which is basically here in between. There are a lot of muscles and sins and everything which is just used by your hand and by your forearm to control your fingers is like sitting down here, and like this is like here are connecting the bones, and here there's a very few space just for everything, for signals, for blood flow, for everything which goes to your hand. And when you do an arch the whole time like this, it's like you can do it, just sit there, do it, make this, you feel like it's getting pressured, and the muscles there are getting flown with blood. And as longer you do it, the more blood is going to the muscles, and the muscles get swollen. And one problem then there is that like the blood flow in general of your hands and your fingers gets slower and lower, and maybe reduces this far that you get these tickles in your fingers, for example, and the feeling on your the sensorics on your fingers and on your fingertips is getting so bad because the arch is too high for you that you lose the feeling, and that you maybe have to stop in game or whatever because you don't feel the buttons anymore, or that's pretty bad. So I just show you I just compare this the Measure Mini for you with this Huntsman. It's like from the side it looks like the Measure is way higher. When maybe you know the shoes from your girlfriend or from your wife, when they have like a plateau, they just buy sport shoes, but the sport shoes have a plateau. It feels like this one is a sport shoe with a little plateau. You can here watch it on the edge. I think without this plateau, it's like here in the front it's 1 or 1.5 millimeter, at the end it's like 2 or 3 millimeters. It would be way more enjoyable, because one thing I realized then, because of the height of the plateau, that the percentage or the height difference from the start of the keyboard to the end of the keyboard is slower. So the keyboard is basically more flat. Here in the Ducky it starts on a lower point, but basically ends on the same height as the Huntsman. But starting on a lower point was for me better, because the way you lay down your hand, or how you can place your hand just by a lower height at the start made it more enjoyable for me, to be honest. And I would never, there's an option on the Measure on the Huntsman where you can make it even higher on the end, so it gets even higher. So look how high the arch would be. So when you would like do this, it's pretty high if you play it like this. So you have to really do it like this. Maybe if you have problems or if you think it's too much for you the whole time, get a hand wrist or a hand rest. So you just sit down your hand on something like you can have it out of wood, out of whatever. There are tons out there, and they're from different companies. They're very cool stuff there, and you just rest your arm or the start or the end of your hand on this. It's like looks like this. So the arch for your hand from your angle gets lower, so it gets longer playable, more enjoyable, less pain for some people. People already have pain. People who are sitting on work the whole day on keyboards, on bad keyboards, getting hand pains because of these arches. That's the problem, guys. And just by ergonomic, I would say the ergonomic of this keyboard definitely needs an upgrade. And just because of ergonomics, I just started or will try to show you more high performance, low profile boards. That's a huge reason for me. Not only because of the faster or smaller switches they use, just by ergonomics, just for an enjoyable, long time fun while playing games, any game. If it's a tactic, if it's StarCraft or whatever, or MOBA or whatever, you always use your keyboard. I think if Razer would do this keyboard with these type of switches, maybe as low profile, or there would be, I think, to be honest, the reason is why this keyboard is so fake. When I watch the switches, I didn't mention in German, but I see now, maybe I buy one or I just open one or I tear down one. If I look the picture of the switch and I see that the stabilizer, which is basically here on the side, which is also the stabilizer and the spring inside are pre-looped, which basically means they oiled it, you know. That's why they have a very, very smooth feeling, and that's why also they're very silent. But if I watch this from the picture, I have to say, as much as the switch stands out here, there's minimum the same way it goes inside. Also, there needs to be PCB then, which is sending the contact over to the USB-C, which is here on the back side, which is also very good made, to be honest. It's a little bit deeper inside, I like it. And so I think that's the reason why the keyboard is so thick, because I think the build height of the switch looks, to be honest, when I watch this picture and here, looks very high. I think that's one of the highest full-size switches I've ever seen. And I think that's because they need the whole box when I watch this. And at this point where it's like straight, there needs to be the sensor, because they need some space to get this optical technique inside. From a mechanical switch, you just do here they have a nice picture here, I see. Yeah, as I said, they basically, they need so much space to get the switch or the build-up of the switch working, that I think they can't make it really, the form factor, they need to make it this high. That's the problem, I think. So, but as I wanted to state out or say already, if Razer would be able to pack this performance of this keyboard into a low profile keyboard, I would pay 200, I think. Not gonna lie. Because the feeling, to be honest, for me is very satisfying for a mass manufactured pre-built keyboard. Very satisfying sound, satisfying feeling, very, very good performance, to be honest. I played it 4 days. I enjoyed it a lot, to be honest, because it was not loud, it was not irritating my stream. When I started using the streak, some people on my stream said, we hear your keyboard. I said, yeah, but we didn't hear it that loud before. Before I was using this, the Mini with the scale box reds, and I said, yeah, because that's the streak, low profile. But how can a low profile with low profile switches be louder? And I said, I think that's the way how it's built. I think it's not about to be silent. But here, that's a mix out of low noise, high performance, very fast acting, optical switches. in a full profile 60% keyboard, which is maybe a little bit high, but I think, as I said, it costs out of how the switches are built. And if they would do it low profile, that would be an insane high performance, low profile keyboard. So in general, yeah, the plastic is not that bad, but one thing is, I really have to mention, it's not common. Some of you people ask yourself right now, what will you talk about? What will you talk about? I just need to talk about keycaps, guys. Some of you people maybe think that's not very important, but keycaps is very, very, very important. The Fanatic Streak, which is 130 euro, which is a low profile 65% keyboard, has so-called ABS keycaps. Yes, they are low profile ABS, and it's the only keyboard I have here with ABS. I think no, it's not true. I have another very expensive keyboard here, which I will not show right now, which only has ABS keycaps. Some of you maybe already know what I'm talking about, but I will not show. That's a later review, and I only played it one day, and I will play it a little bit more. But on a keyboard above 120 euro, using ABS non-double shot PBT keycaps is like, I don't know, what's the reason? I think that's 6 euro, 5 euro in production. I don't know. Could be a little bit more, but not more than 10 euro for a full key set. And that's only 65%. So I show you now. This here is like, yes, it's low profile, but maybe you can see it already by how it looks on both sides. This is ABS. ABS plastic has one real or big disadvantage. At first, it has a very high grade, or it down used very fast. If there is something printed on it or graved on it, for example, this here is not made through the plastic. You see SDRG is only on one side, so it's just, maybe it's lasered on it, or I don't know how they done it on it, but the way or the speed how ABS is using down is so fast that you don't have a lot of, or there is no long lifespan. You will enjoy these SDRG writing here, because at some point it will just disappear. And if you have oily, sweaty fingers, on general, everything, every fluid base, oil, sweat, whatever is just which is touching this plastic will get into the plastic. So the plastic absorbs a lot because of how it's made. It's it's a little bit smoother, a little bit, the structure is a little bit more open to everything which can go into it, and they get dirty very fast, and you have problems with these with the haptic. So they will get, at one point you try to clean them often, and at one point they just get the touch feeling gets so bad that it gets slippy. And on ABS buttons, on double shot PBTs from Ducky, for example, I have here that's why it's really good. My YouTube man brought back me my very old, dirty Ducky with my brown switches. And I just can show you that a keyboard which is used for like a year or something, the S button where I can show you now. It's like, okay, I don't have a puller here, but I try to show you the S button. You see there's a little down usage. But this down usage on the F button is from 1.5 years. It's from 3,000 hours playing Apex on this keyboard. 3,000 hours game time on one keyboard, on the same key set. And you can see, it still looks very good. This double shot PBT keycap from Ducky, and it still has roughness. It's not even close as slippery or even, or like, I don't know how to explain. These ABS keycaps they're just not good. And Razer made one big move here, to be honest, and I'm very proud of Razer that they've done this. And also, yes, they printed it out of the box, or here they just used double shot PBT caps. And you can thank Razer for this. That's a good move. That's nice. They're feeling awesome. and I think the longevity will be very big. But one thing I can tell you is you already can see it on my Euro sign. I think you see the Euro sign, it already gets unclear. When you use those buttons with those print-ons a lot, also those side print-ons here, they will disappear very fast because they just like sprayed on the plastic afterwards, because they just buy those keycap set, you see, and then they that's for every ISO layout, and then they just decide one. I think, let me check how many options they have, and then you decide which option you buy: UK, Norwegian, German, or France layout. And for these 4 layouts, they just spray the right stuff on the keycaps, you know. So you have a keycap set, which basically is always the same for these 4, and they just spray the right ones on it so that you can use it. But this will disappear very fast, but can't tell you now how fast, but as you already can see on the Euro sign, I used it for 4 days. It's not that good. But in general, these keycaps will last very, very long. Original set of keycaps in quartz pink is like 35 euro, but I think you can also get double shot PBT caps somewhere else, which are also very good. So in general, everything good here on this keyboard. Feeling is amazing. And if I compare this now with my non-optical duckies and my non-optical street so far, I have to say that just by performance and how I feel, or how how playing feels for me on this keyboard, that the feeling in general is very good. Out of the box, you can use it without software. You can control 6 different RGB modes, which are like static, breathing, spectrum, cycle, wave, reactive, and starlight, just by the FN buttons. And it's just great. It feels awesome. It's nice, it's smooth, it's direct. It's an awesome feeling in-game on fast-paced shooters like Apex. It's awesome on daily usage. It's silent. Your girlfriend will not hear you. It's just very good. I would wish to have an option that I can get a Ducky Mecha Mini with comparable opticals from Gatrons, for example. Would be nice. I would test it, and I would love to compare it to this one, not gonna lie. I think that's a very good move, and I'm not a fan of Razer. Some of you guys know me, you know my specs are Viper Mini review. I don't like big companies, main market leaders, whatever, who are just producing stuff to make money. Who are not investing a lot of time or whatever. But here, for me, it feels like they made some really good moves, and I'm not disappointed by this Razer product. Like, I also wasn't disappointed by the Hochi, which is basically one of the best wireless fingertip and claw grip mouse out there. Also have to say, I think for me now, this is my new main keyboard. For my own impressions, it could be a little bit better in general, like on the build height, as I said, could be a total metal or aluminum frame. But in general, I have to say, an awesome product for a fair price for people who are seeking a high-performing 60% keyboard. And I was zero hyped by this, but right now I'm thinking that's way more than I expected from Razer. Then I never thought about getting this keyboard in this quality. And I read a lot of stuff about the old ones, and I have a viewer who's called Lee here on YouTube and on Twitch who had like 3 of this and just sent them all back, course. Keys got broke in under a week, and like, I don't know, I have 0 problems right now. If I get problems, I will let you know, guys. So in general, I said already, very good board, high performance. If I forgot something, guys, or if I had something wrong telling you about this Huntsman, or you have a Huntsman Mini, an old one maybe, not the new one, or you have the one, the purple switches, or whatever, or I'm not that good informed about keyboards right now, and yes, I'm still learning on keyboards. I said already, let me know in the comments. Let us have a brief conversation about this. I'm already here to get your opinions. And as I said in German review, for example, if someone of you knows an ISO or German ISO layout, optical, low profile, metallic keyboard, please write in the comments, I seek for one, or I seek for difference of them. They need to be pre-built, please, and below 220 euro in total. I don't want to assemble them myself, but I seek for them because, in my opinion, right now, very good optical, low profile with a metal housing, and very good made PCBs. Wired, non-wireless guys, wired please, are the future of high performance gaming. So that's everything from my side so far. Thanks for watching, and if you watched until this and still did not subscribe, maybe you just hit the subscribe button. This channel is about very deep reviews on technique, on everything I can do based on my own experience, and I never reflect anything from manufacturer something. You only get stuff I know myself and only my own impressions here on this channel. Thanks guys, see you on the next video, bye.